Kenya sets the pace in track and field sports. We are known the world over to produce some of the best runners whom have won and broken records on the track. From the 60s, runners like Kipchoge Keino, Daniel Komen, Paul Tergat, and most recently Vivian Cheruiyot have been worldwide champions, inspiring millions of athletes and fans across the globe. Setting the Pace is the first and only show that gives you the inside track in the world of Kenyan runners. Thank you for staying tuned to Zuku Sports this season. I'm your host, Martin Kaner. Athletics is a way of life, but first and foremost, it's also a way to earn a living. Kenyan athletes, the best in the world, get the bulk of their incomes through appearance fees and prize money. But despite being the best in the world, they aren't getting the value of endorsements where the real money is. Setting the Pace invited Derek Banga, a public image consultant, and Tom Sitati, Kenya's brand guru, to discuss the Kenyan athlete branding, a topic that's close to my heart.
If you look at Rudisha, Mutai, you've gone up there, you've represented us, you've done well. After that, people are asking, okay, you've won, thank you. Give us more, we want to know you. What they're really asking for is, where is your brand?
Martin, you've heard me talk about this. I talk about this holy trifecta or triumvirate. The three cornerstones, I think, to a great brand, certainly for an athlete. Number one is the image or the looks. Yes, we live in a visual world. But anyone from the Connie Covers of this world to, athletes who have had a certain look that appeals to the media, that's number one. What are our athletes doing to enhance that? Secondly, obviously, has to be the success on the field, on the pitch, or whatever the case might be. So that goes hand in hand. And then third is the communication skills.
Our athletes have no choice but to build their personal brands. The fact that they get the opportunity to represent us, the fact that they get the opportunity to be raised on a pedestal, and everybody's looking out for them, asking, we want to see this guy. What next? They want to relate. They actually owe the public a debt of them building their personal brands. They really have no choice. So I trust that with time, they'll be able to say, fine, actually, this is my responsibility. This country is hungry for role models. I will be that role model. I'm looking forward to that day.
Kenyan athletes have always been the best at what they do. Many have tried to analyze why, but doping was never given as a reason because it was literally unheard of amongst Kenyan athletes, until now. A news report aired on German ARD TV exposed unprecedented rise in doping amongst athletes. We invited Nyahuru administrator Lawrence Miano and sports editor Elias Makori to explore the reasons behind this rise in doping amongst Kenyan athletes and what can be done to curb this rise.
It's very true there are some athletes in Kenya who are doping, and this is an issue that should be taken very, very seriously.
To me, I don't believe that our athletes take drugs. I've been in sports administration for over 30 years. And I remember even you yourself, you ran Nyahuru.
Yes.
Our athletes eat a very strong type of diet from childhood to where they grow up. So this strength that they have is not because of doping. They don't.
The recent allegations by this German TV report that implicated some athletes, it has dealt a big blow to the reputation of Kenya. What can we do to change that?
I think even the Ministry of Health needs to come in very strongly, because the main local races we have, we should actually make it compulsory to have dope testing. I mean, we need to increase our capacity for testing.
Certainly.
At the moment, I think the biggest lab we have around here is in South Africa. The samples have to go down south.
Yes, they have to go down.
Yeah, so we need to build our capacity for testing locally and educating the athletes. Another thing, Martin, which really, we have to make examples of people. We should stop pretending that Kenya is clean, there's no doping. There is doping, and we should talk about the guys who've been doping, guys who've been drinking themselves silly. You should mention somebody like Richard Chelimo. who died because of,
liver cirrhosis.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, drinking too much.
No, I'm quoting about the old time.
Yes, okay.
The old time we didn't have these things, but the current.
But now it's the fashion. Doping is.
But we should also, you people in the media should also enlighten us. There is a time you used to write some especially on Saturdays. You used to educate people very much. What happened? We need it back right now. Yeah, I almost challenging the media. You can create a good name for Kenya, and you can also create a very bad name for Miano.
Kenyan athletes are among the best in the world. Elite Kenyan athletes can earn prize money in the ranges of $250,000 for top-tier marathon races and track events. The Kenyan government is grappling with a major budget deficit, and one of the solutions is to enforce the taxation of Kenyan athletes' incomes. Tax expert Frederick Omondi and Nike consultant Barnaba Korir were on setting the pace to explore the topic of athlete taxation and how we can ensure that our Kenyan athletes earn a decent living off the track.
The common mwananchi who goes, say, to industrial area every day and earns 30,000 shillings a month is actually paying tax at, say, 25%. So if we have to exempt one person, then the other person could also put up a case and say, I have to wake up every day at 6 to run to industrial area. Yeah. Will you exempt my 30,000? We cannot probably talk of a blanket exemption because then who will be left to pay tax? Is it you or is it me?
This is based on the assumption. This is based on the assumption that an athlete, when they go to run, they are going to make any money. Because the possibility is that they might not even make any money. And there are so many other factors that determine also whether, even if you run in that marathon or any other race, you are going to get that money. And Martin, the problem that the people of Kenya perceive athletes to have money is absolutely wrong. Because normally when an athlete wins a marathon, that money actually weighs up to minimum of 3 months, sometimes goes up to 1 year or 2 years. Whenever something is written in the newspaper, a certain amount of money is being won, it is not the exact amount the athlete has won. It's actually maybe the money that an athlete will get is not more than 30% of what is written in the newspapers. And that is the wrong perception. If you go down to the grassroots and you realize what those people are going through, you will be really shocked that the suffering they go through is incredible.
How do we provide solutions for this? What is the solution?
The solution is not to run away from the problem, but to deal with it. How can we turn athletics into a business where we derive the most benefit so that it's not painful at the end to pay tax? Because if we are all profiting, then we'll be happy to pay tax.
I think the key point here is education and sensitization. I think a lot of people are ignorant of the processes of tax and the obligation for every citizen to pay tax. And with Athletics Kenya's initiative to educate athletes is a good one, but it has to be sustainable. You know, the turnover of athletes is high in Kenya, and every year there's new athletes coming into the process. So this has to be driven consistently. You know, athletes must be told that this is a business. It's a career. It's not a fun pastime.
In terms of education, like you said, it has to be sustainable. I think it also has to start early, you know, because we don't want to wait until somebody is famous to start, highlighting some of the issues that they're likely to face.
And the government also must participate and ensure that in the future, they have to contribute to the development of athletics in this country.
Kenya is flooded with scores of junior athletes in high schools and universities who perform well in both local and international races. However, few of them manage to fulfill their potential as senior athletes. Unlike its Western counterparts such as the USA, Kenya does not have a structured junior talent development system for athletes, which addresses both academic and future career needs of young track and field stars. The formative stage of junior athletes is very important, and a lot needs to be done to improve the local development of promising junior athletes into successful senior athletes. We invited Coach Daniel Kibaru to explore the topic of unleashing the potential of Kenya's pot of gold junior athletes.
In Moro area, or let me put it in the Karegin area, they start running when they are very young, when they are going to get water, when they are going to go for firewood, when they are going to school,
yes.
because the schools are far, not just here in town where they just take a vehicle. So you cannot say exactly when they start, but it is in them. It's a tradition.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, there's, the whole running to school thing for children here in Kenya is a very common feature.
Yeah.
And really, it's the natural start to the careers of many champions, as you may say.
With the junior or with the youths, with the young athletes, it's very interesting because they are not motivated by extricate gain. They have that instant motive. They have the desire.
Absolutely.
So you can see at least that person has got the passion. Then you start nurturing person. From 8 years, that's a kid. You go to 10. Then from 30 years, that's when now you start
getting a bit serious.
Yeah, getting a bit serious.
Okay.
Yeah, at least.
Okay. And something about junior athletics, I know you've coached champions. At the top end, very successful, but it drops sharply in terms of the quality, and especially the girls.
Yeah.
Why is that, and what can be done to change that? Because I find that we have a very, very good athlete at the top.
That's an issue. With young athletes, they don't make decisions sometimes. They don't make firm decisions sometimes. So they start, and there's the environment also. I like girls. Young men, they want to marry them because they want to marry money.
Ah, okay.
Because whenever they see them succeeding, they try to influence them. Okay. The other thing is that also the parents, maybe they are demanding too much. Or the people around. So a young athlete can decide to escape.
But what do you do in your camp that's so different that you're able to nurture these athletes away from that kind of pressure?
One thing as a coach, you have to be a father because they are just junior. You have to be a father, you have to be a friend, you have to be a counselor, all wrapped in one.
Yeah.
So there are some times when you have to go out of the way and start sitting down with them and tell them, no, you must have a vision. Like in our camp, we sit with every athlete and tell them now, you have to tell us what is your vision. In 1 year's time, 2 years' time, even we ask them, when do you plan to get married? When do you plan to do? Those are the kind of things we discuss.
I agree. You have to do those things.
We have to do those so that they can get very structured and they can see the goal.
Okay.
Junior athletes are the foundation of this nation if you want to go far in athletics, because they are not driven by monetary gains. They are driven by the talent in themselves. They want to do it. If you start, you are a witness. If you start when you are senior, you just want to run out of poverty through athletics. Okay? But when you start when you are junior, you want to fulfill something in you, the desire to run. Okay. So that's the foundation. If you want to go further as a nation, we must put much emphasis on junior athletes.
There is a time for everything, so when I got retired, although my body wanted to run, but I had a big injury on my knee. But also the age, the age was coming, and I think I finished my talent, and there was nothing more that I could give in running here.
Track and field athletes, like most sports people, have extremely short careers. If they're at the top of their game, they enjoy handsome prize money from races, endless travel from international races, a celebrity status, and the possibility of an endorsement.
What is happening with our young athletes, they want to gain a lot of money in a very short time. The nature of life changes when you run. You start from an humble background and you go up. And when you are up there, you need to maintain those friends. And it is very difficult to maintain friends with money because money is like flowers. It comes and goes.
With all this excitement and opportunity, few plan for the future as well as they should. We invited former athletes Daniel Komen, Wilfred Bungay, as well as coach John Withiga, to discuss the life of retired athletes and explore what athletes should do to ensure that life after the track is comfortable for them.
Unfortunately, majority of us, we retire without plan, and therefore, coming to retirement life always is a challenge, to adjust back to the society, and you must have a plan.
Majority of the athletes, what they lack is that planning. Mm-hmm. Because I think the career of an athlete, if well planned, it should be a span of between that is let's say right away from secondary school. If we're talking start from 20, then you have let's say you have the junior time, which is about 4 years or 4 years. Then you have now the senior category where you run for about a period of 8 years. That's 8 years or 10 years.
Well, Martin, it has never been an easy journey, if I may say so, because one, we are coming out of the routine of, I would say, 340 days of work. Okay, no holidays. If people have holidays, Easter holidays, Christmas, as an athlete, you don't have. It comes with its own challenges, but what is important is always be prepared that, there is a time that you have to go home. And if you go home, what are you going to do? The current group of our athletes that we have at the moment, at least they are investing well. But I would say, if you invest, for example, in real estate, you're not going to be running that business every single day. Exactly. And therefore, you must find yourself something that you can do on a daily basis so that you know that you wake up in the morning, where am I going? And as I said, it has never been very easy for me, but I'm happy with what I'm doing.
I think I miss a lot. Like recently, I was in London Olympics. Then I was seeing a lot of my friends, people like Carl Lewis, people like Linford Christie. Nowadays, they are sport journalists. They are sport managers. But here in Kenya, someone like me to be a sport manager is a problem. In fact, someone like me now, I'm in charge in Athletic K. But sometimes when you keep out the problem facing the sport in the region, they cannot understand.
It's a great point you pointed out. Integrating back into society and the communities we come from. How do we give back? As former athletes, what can we do in the community? And I think that's something that needs to be encouraged, because we find that a lot of our former running compatriots completely go underground. They completely get away from the limelight.
Well, Martin, just to make a quick point is that I think most of our career after also depends on how we were relating to the society, during our career. Yeah. Because the point is, it's so difficult for you, or anyone, to integrate into the society that they have not been so much in touch with. So I think basically the idea of our time that we are at the peak or we are at the top, what are we doing with our lives also in terms of the society so that you can fit in and be able to do or to help in one way or another.
When the average Kenyan is asked, how do you think Kenyan athletes performed this year? They will perhaps refer to the Olympics, the one time every 4 years that the majority become avid track and field fans.
Our athletes didn't perform well as per our expectations.
We tried our level best, but I think we can do better than that, because considering what we did in Beijing, the number of gold medals was less.
The problem is we are relaxed. That's why we don't see if some other country can run. No.
Maybe they would have trained harder so that you can get more gold medals. Yeah, obviously. But it was an okay performance.
We saw there were some issues, like between the federation and the athletes themselves.
In next coming years, they have to adjust because everybody is now competing towards training in Kenya.
Kenya's athletics performance is a sum of more than just the Olympic performance. We invited Stephen Moniki and Celestine Caronay to explore the key track and field events happening throughout the year and analyze Kenya's overall performance in these events.
This is a country that has a very rich history in athletics. You're looking at a situation where, is it 6 out of the top 10 in the world in the middle and long distance running are Kenyans. So yes, the public must have expectations of these athletes. These are athletes who have led every single race, money event, let me call it money event, the whole year. Come to the Olympics, the gold medals are few and far between. So, of course, Kenyans are going to be disappointed. Of course, the reactions are going to be harsh. It happens all over the world. We can pick positives out of the Olympics. Number one, Kitum did very well in the 800 meters. You're looking at a junior athlete who, weeks before the Olympics, had won silver in the 800 meters in Barcelona. So that was a good show. It shows that Kenya has a future. Then you look at a situation like the 10,000 meters and the 5,000 meter women's event. I know Kenyans are going to be very, they are not very happy, especially looking at Vivian's form coming into the Olympic Games. I mean, this was a world champion in the cross country, a world champion in the 5 and 10,000 meters. But Kenya has never won gold in the 10,000 meter in the women's event in the Olympics.
Anything in the track.
They've actually never, exactly, they've never won. You know, even the silvers are hard to come by.
Yes.
But Vivian won silver and bronze. And we had Sally Kipyego winning silver. So the women are making strides.
Yeah, my take is that we performed well, though Kenyans are trying to, you know, it depends with the parameters that you are using to gauge our performance. And I know people are relying on what happened in Beijing and compared to London. But if we look at our performance according to the having new upcoming athletes coming on board, we can say that we performed very well. The case of Kiptum, who has never been in the world major stage, and he performed extremely well, getting us a bronze medal. If you look at Sally Kipyego, what he was able to get as a silver medal, and this is no mean achievement. And also if we look in terms of what Rudisha did, for the first time in so many years, we've never seen an Olympic like what we saw in London, breaking a world record and getting us a gold medal. So we performed extremely well.
But that gold medal is far more valuable than people think. You know, I think that's what it is. And so, you know, I think the public has to understand.
Exactly.
Yeah.
People need to understand that nobody loses on purpose. In fact, I remember one athlete kept saying, do people think we like to lose? Nobody loses. In anything you do in life, nobody ever wants to lose on purpose.
2013, we are going for Moscow. And this World Championship is going to be tough. I know the Russians are preparing, and they have very tough athletes in Russia, especially if you look at the 800 meters. Sivanova, she's a very tough athlete.
Yeah, they have a whole procession line of 800, female 800 meter runners. So, that is, you know, for 800 meter runners, Chelimo and Chepkoskei.
Yeah. But I think, you know, before we get to Moscow, I think it's good that we are having a World Cross Country Championship.
Yes, indeed.
You know, because you realize that every year we have a World Cross Country Championship. And I think that what could have been an issue for us this year, because we didn't have the athletes weren't really keen on cross country because there was no world event. But they will be keen on cross country now, which is very good for track athletes, you know, in building endurance and all that. So going for Poland, I think, is going to be a good thing for them. You know, it will be a really good preparation for Moscow. And I want to say here that we can promise Kenyans, you're going to see a very different Kenya from the Olympic
And
team.
you remember the last...
You will see a different Kenya.
Indeed. I think, you know, it's good we sort of experience this sort of downturn in performance because, you know,
the hunger now is back.
The hunger is back. Our athletes can be extremely motivated to get back on top. You know, I can see, you know, the likes of Asbel, you know, getting back on top, defending the titles.
So many titles.
You know, the women coming back to the top again in the long distance races, in the marathon for sure. The men's marathon especially was
clean sweeps again.
Clean sweep again, and I think we're looking forward to an exciting 2013 on the track.
And also, we still remember at the back of our mind, we remember what we did in Poland. The last time we were in Poland, we swept everything.
Yeah, Bydgoszcz was a great period. And so
Bydgoszcz has good karma for Kenya.
Coach, any last thoughts on our performance of 2012?
Kenyans want to put it behind ourselves and think about 2013 and up to 2016. And what we need from our public is that we need more support. We need the corporate to come on board and assist our athletes. And we'll be back to the stage and be able to perform again. And Rio de Janeiro will be able to scoop more medals like in Beijing.
I think Kenyans experienced all sorts of emotions, from joy, extreme joy, to disappointment. And the saddest bit is when it mattered most, when they really wanted to see the athletes get all the medals. They didn't. But you see, like, I want to agree with Coach. Being a fan is being a fan. Just support the athletes. Keep supporting the athletes. Personally, I think they did well. You know, with everything that they had to work with. It was a great year for Kenyan athletics, and it can only get better.
This has been an exciting season for setting the pace. As a retired athlete and current sports marketer, athletics is my passion. It's a privilege to have been able to share the world of Kenyan athletics with you. Setting the pace will only get bigger and better next season, so join us on Zuku Sport as we journey through the world of Kenyan athletics. Thank you and kwaheri.
And market.
Scene 10, take 2.
We got 1,500-meter taxi throw.
Okay, Coach, let's continue after the short break.
Don't do that.
I have to cut you off, actually. No. We'll come back. We'll come back and say a topic that's close to my heart.
Close to my heart.
All right.
It's close. And action. And in 5, 4, 3.
A topic that's close to my heart.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. I can feel a smile in my heart.
Scene 6, take 1.
Action.
Hi, I'm James Bond. Yeah, that's what it is.
Or do we just close again?
So I can have some.
Naonekana hapo. Toka hapo nyuma. It's a wrap.